All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to JT Talks LA. This is the JT Dodgers podcast, but rebranded. So now we're covering Lakers, Rams, and Dodgers. Those are the three LA teams I root for. So I'm James Torillo, if this is your first time watching. So we did have the JT Dodgers podcast. Now it's all LA sports teams. And today we are going to be going over something that Laker fans might not want to talk about, but someone that will want to talk about it. My friend here, Cody Pearson, who is our guest today, who is a Timberwolves fan, and he's going to let me hear it today. So, hello, Cody. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
It's very unfortunate what happened last night. Not for you, but not for you, but
For the Lakers.
yes, very much so. So this is really my first episode about the Lakers. I don't get to watch the Lakers on TV too much because I am from Jersey. So when I can, I'll pull them up on Streameast or whatever. But then, sometimes they're on TV because
They are the Lakers.
they are the Lakers, so they're on TV. So I watch them when I can. Um, this was just this series was just a completely different team. It felt like from what we saw in the regular season. And I think the main thing that needs to be discussed is how bad the Lakers need a center.
Yeah. They
'Cause-
need one real bad.
Yeah.
If you saw that Mark Williams tweet, the smiley face he put.
Bro, he cannot be talking. Bro failed his physical and could have been our center. I don't know why he's playing like victim. Like, if he didn't fail his physical, he would have been our center, and it's a completely different series.
Yeah, for sure. He could have given you much needed help against Rudy Gobert last night.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Rudy Gobert had 27 last night
That's the
in
most he's
39
ever
minutes.
had. He had 24 rebounds. How do you give up 24 rebounds to a guy? That's
Rudy
crazy.
Gobert is not a good offensive player. Like, I don't understand how you can let a guy who's not good offensively drop 27. And it's not like, he was hitting shots contested. He was just dunking because he's wide open in the paint every possession.
But
And
if you're gonna play small ball like the Lakers were, you have to hustle to the ball and try and rebound, and they just weren't.
no.
They looked like they had no hustle. They didn't want it all. It looked like the Timberwolves were the ones who were down 3-1,
Yeah.
and the Lakers just didn't care. It seemed like.
We were watching the game last night, like the first half, and we were down like 21-9 in the and at the beginning, even though it was early, I remember saying, like, I guess we're waving the white flag because it looked like they didn't want to be there.
Yeah.
Like, besides LeBron, everyone else just looked like, oh, we're down 3-1, series is over.
Yeah.
Like, you can't have that attitude. And someone that certainly wouldn't have that mentality is this guy right back here on my jersey. I mean, that's what pisses me off the most because ever since he retired, basketball hasn't been the same for me. But at least, I had 2020 when the Lakers won with LeBron and AD. That trade, let's talk about that.
Yeah.
It's going to be curious to see how things turn out with that trade because Anthony Davis is 6 years older than Luka, and Luka's the better player, but defensively, Anthony Davis is by far the better player, and we have no defense besides, or we had no defense besides Anthony Davis, and now we don't have him, and our offense better because Luka's one of the best players in the world. But what do we do defensively now? Because we don't have a big, and now the one big we have is Jackson Hayes, who's not the greatest player ever, but not playing him
Yeah, that's crazy.
doesn't make any sense.
I get not starting him, but like once you see Rudy Gobert's starting to go off, getting all those rebounds, especially the offensive rebounds, like you got to change something up.
Yeah.
And putting in Maxi Kleber, who hadn't played a game for the Lakers yet.
Yeah.
And is just coming off injury.
In an
he wasn't the
elimination
answer,
game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He wasn't the answer. You got to put in Jackson Hayes at least for a little bit, even if it doesn't work out.
And the main thing that like pissed me off, like I've liked JJ Redick as a coach so far this season because when they hired him, I'll admit I had my doubts because for the people that don't know, I'm a Lakers and a Nets fan. Long story, but when the Nets hired Steve Nash, who was a former player, I hated it, and I was expecting JJ Redick to be the same thing for the Lakers, where he was only the coach because some of the players liked him, and he really had no coaching experience. I was worried that would be the same. JJ Redick was better, much better than I expected, but he coached this series completely differently. Like game 4, a must-win game in Minnesota. You're down 2-1. You have to tie the series going back to LA, and he starts the same guys the whole second half.
Yeah. I mean, like you can see where he's coming from. It's obviously a must-win game. Like if they end up winning that game, he's a genius. Everybody's like, oh, he's the next biggest coach, but
Right.
since it didn't work out,
And
it
you
doesn't
know,
look great.
our best player, I mean, I love LeBron, and I'll get to him more in a second. And I've seen a bunch of Laker fans talking about LeBron since last night. We'll get to that in a second. But the whole thing with him is that he is still a great player, but he is 40 years old. He should not be playing a whole half in a row.
Yeah.
I'm sure, if you ask LeBron, can you play this whole half? Of course he's going to say yes. He's not going to say nah, like I'm too old. But you can't have the same starting five out there the whole second half because it caught up to them eventually.
Yeah.
They went on that run early in the second half. They outplayed the Timberwolves in the third quarter, and then the Timberwolves just caught up because the Lakers were gassed.
Yeah.
And you can't have that in a playoff game.
Yeah, the Timberwolves started down 10 in the fourth quarter, and then Anthony Edwards just went on a run, and
Yeah.
like that, the lead was gone, and the Lakers were gassed.
Yeah. And not only was the series coached very poorly by Redick, in my opinion, I think it was also on the players as well. I mean, besides, Luka was inconsistent because he had that stomach bug, and then he had the back injury.
Yeah.
I'll give him an excuse. That's fine. He had an injury and an illness in the span of like 4 days. Fair enough. LeBron was fine. Everybody else was way too inconsistent to have any sort of rhythm in the series.
Rui played a good last two games, but he started the series off rough.
Right.
And Reeves had a just bad series in general.
Oh, yeah.
I think this was just a real bad matchup for him because he's not the fastest or the most athletic. He just always hits those three. And so when you put a guy like Jake McDaniels or Anthony Edwards on him, there's not much he can do. He's not a great shot creator. He's just the
Right.
spot-up shooter. And so they were locking him down this series.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't even like he couldn't hit a shot, which he couldn't, but it wasn't even that. Like, he was turning the ball over, he was taking stupid shots. Like, his whole game was just like Austin Reeves was a completely different player. And the thing is with Austin Reeves, like, I will defend him because I do like him as a player. He had a bad series, but I've seen like, Laker fans on like social media or whatever after getting eliminated last night. It was the same thing they did the last 2 years with D'Angelo Russell. Like, they're like, all right, he's got to go.
Yeah,
Like, he had a bad series. He did.
this is a
but
bad matchup for him.
It's a bad matchup. He had a bad series. We know that. But that doesn't mean you got to get rid of him. He could come back next year. We could play someone in the playoffs, and he could have a great series, and then everyone will say, oh, extend him. Like, I've even seen what I was gonna get to a few minutes ago. What I was gonna say was, I've seen people on social media that are Laker fans saying LeBron's got to go. I'm like, come on. Like, I get it's a disappointing end to the season, and after the Luka trade, all Lakers fans' mindset was, we're winning the finals because we have Luka and LeBron. But I remember talking to my dad about it as soon as the trade happened, and he was like, who do we have as a center now? And I remember in the heat of the moment, I remember even saying, I was like, who cares? We got Luka Doncic. Like, who cares if we have a center? Like, I'll play center. I don't care. But he was right. I mean, you can't go into that matchup without a big man because we saw it with Gobert. We saw it throughout the regular season. Julius Randle, yeah. I mean, we were talking about it last night. Like, even just watching the game, like, you look at the court, and even the Kevin Harlan who's calling the game, he's like, look how small the Lakers are. Because our biggest guy out there was probably LeBron.
Yeah, nobody protecting the rim. Like, Rui was just having a field day. At the
Yeah.
moment.
And it's not like, Gobert, if we're not a team with size, and we know that, it's not like Gobert's out there like driving to the paint and beating guys to get to the rim. He's sitting under the rim all alone. So you can't even blame the fact that we're small. There's just nobody guarding him.
Yeah, like,
Somebody's got to step up.
it's crazy. Sometimes he was just sitting there at the rim, not even getting boxed out. Like, you can't just leave him wide open to get a rebound. He has a 7'5" wingspan, I think. Like,
Yeah.
he's gonna get the rebounds if you just don't try on defense.
There was that one possession last night where you guys, luckily for us, we were completely lucky. You guys missed like 4 shots in a row, but you just kept getting the rebound, passing it back to the 3-point line.
Kicked out, but
Yeah,
they were
'cause
so
we couldn't
bad
get a
from
board.
three that it didn't
Yeah.
matter, but
I mean, you guys didn't play a good game last night, but we were just worse. Like, it's.
Anthony Edwards, I think, went 0 for 11 from 3-point. Like,
Did he?
yeah, he didn't.
Wow.
He
I didn't
hit
realize
a
that.
three-pointer. He had like 15 points, but
That's insane.
Rudy Gobert.
That's insane. Yeah. And Julius Randle at 23, Gobert at 27. And you guys have guys that step up off the bench. And, Edwards had 15. That's fine. Mike Conley had some clutch shots. DiVincenzo did as well. Alexander Walker had 10. I mean, you'd take that,
Yeah, that's
you
all
know.
you can ask for from people coming off the bench to give you influence, and they were all great on defense. All the Timberwolves were locked in on defense.
Yeah, and the Lakers just were not. But yeah, like back to what I was saying about like the Laker fans that I've seen on like social media and stuff. I get in the heat of the moment, Reeves has a bad series, LeBron's inconsistent and people are mad about, Bronny being on the team just because of LeBron. I get it, but that doesn't mean they have to go. Like like the Lakers posted on, I'll pull it up right now. Honestly. The Lakers posted on Instagram like a thank you fans post like everyone does when they get eliminated from the playoffs every year. And let me pull it up. The comments are just ridiculous. Build around Luka, get Bron and his son out of here. Get rid of LeBron, please. I beg y'all to let it go. Fans deserve better. Let's build around Luka. As a Laker fan, LeBron will never be Kobe or Jordan. Please get a center next time. Fair. Mavs won the trade. Just sign Giannis and Jokic and call it a day. That's very realistic. How does Kleber and Gabe get more minutes over Hayes and DK? Very fair. Talked all that just to get cooked in the first round. Fair. Luka scores 28 but gives up 60. It's bad when Rudy Gobert is the best player on the court. AD would have handled Gobert, which...
Yeah, it's true. Gobert's
I mean...
getting 24 rebounds if
yeah.
Anthony Davis is in the paint.
We needed AD tonight. Off to Cancun in June. LeBron retires soon. Lakers out in 5. Same thing every year. A little gif of Anthony Edwards doing the DX chop. Then there's some people staying positive. Next season we'll be back. This team wasn't going to be good enough to go deep in the playoffs this season anyways, which I
think
fine.
Immediately after the trade, people were like, they took a step back from defense. They're not going to be probably going to the finals this year, but it sets them up for the future. But then they started playing so well down the stretch that people started believing, like, for a couple weeks span, they had like the best defense in the league, and people were like, well, if they can continue to play like this, then they're going to win. But then you saw those depth issues came into play, and they weren't trying as hard, and just ended up not working. And
You know who I missed in this series besides AD? My boy D'Angelo Russell. Because the last 2 playoff series in 2023 and 24, we got eliminated by Denver both years, and every Laker fan on the planet was tearing apart D'Angelo Russell like he lost the series all on his own. But now Reeves does it, and now Reeves is getting all the hate. And it's like, we just got to stop picking on one guy every series. If someone has a bad series, chill. We're going to be fine. Like, I get, obviously we're not going to be fine this season because we're eliminated, but the future is bright. I get LeBron's old, but wanting him to leave is crazy.
Yeah.
Like, you think a Bulls fan ever said, get Jordan out of here after they lost in the first round? Like, he lost in the first round a bunch of times. You think Bulls fans ever said, like, oh, get this Jordan guy out of here? Yeah, you think Laker fans ever said, like, oh, Kobe's got to go. We just lost to... Yeah, he's got to go. He's got to go. Like, nobody ever said that. And I get, it's not like they were 40 years old, but LeBron's still one of the best players on the planet. Like, let's not be ridiculous. He's the only one to me that showed heart out there. Him and Luka. Luka was hurt and sick, whatever. I get that. Those are the only 2 that showed heart out there last night. Everyone else looked like, okay, we're down 3-1. The series is over. That's what it looked like to me. I don't know what you saw, but that's what it looked like to me. Off-season needs for the Lakers. Like I was saying, people want Reeves gone. They want to trade him. I don't think that's fair at all. I don't think that's necessary. We need at least 2 centers.
Yeah.
I'm fine with Jackson Hayes being one of them, honestly. I do think that... Yeah, like, should he be starting on a team that wants to win the finals? Probably not. But, I mean, one thing I would love to see is my 2 teams making a trade, and the Lakers get Nick Claxton. Because the Nets are in no position right now to win anything, obviously. I would be fine with, like, a little mock-up trade being, like, Nick Claxton for a first, maybe Rui, maybe DFS goes back to the Nets, something like that. You throw in a first. I mean, I think that's valid. I'm sure there'll be people that see this and they're saying, like, oh, that's a ridiculous trade, but I don't think it's ridiculous. And as a fan of both teams, I I'd like to see it. I would love to see Nick Claxton on the Lakers because I think he'd be a great starter for us. And he's not, he's not the greatest offensive center in the league, but we need defense right now. We need it bad. And he's good defensively. And if the Nets have to trade Claxton, but they get a first, it's fine because the Nets are in no position to win for a couple of years at least. So I would love to see them go out and get Nick Claxton this offseason or another center. I'd like to see them get a shooter that's good from the corner because our shooters from the corners are just way too inconsistent. Hachimura, Reeves this series was bad. And the other thing about, back to Redick not coaching the series well at all, where was Dalton Connect?
Yeah, that's crazy. I think he didn't have to start, but he had to get in the game at least.
Yeah. That, and then not playing Jackson Hayes is already stupid in my opinion, but before the game, Redick flat out said, yeah, Jackson Hayes will not be playing tonight. So now you've opened the door for the Timberwolves to say, oh, well, they're not starting their starter. Let's draw up plays for our center because there's not going to be a big guy on the floor. So I'm sure they did that, and then look what Gobert did last night.
Yeah, you could tell that was definitely a pinpoint that they were trying to get that what's his name, Finch was definitely in the huddle.
Yeah.
They have nobody who can guard us on defense. Just go and attack them in the paint and get to the rim, and we're going to win. And that's what happened.
Yeah. And like I said before, it's not like Gobert was, beating guys to the paint and, we were making him earn it. He's just sitting there. And we had two guys at the, top of the three-point line on Edwards most of the time that you could see Reeves, waving on somebody else and, whoever, Hachimura or whatever, would come and double team him. I'm not saying I have a problem with double teaming Anthony Edwards. He's the best player on the other side of the floor. That's fine. But when you double team a guy, someone's going to be open, and you can't let that guy be sitting in the paint. If you're going to let a guy open, at least let him shoot, not be wide open for a dunk because that's a guaranteed 2 points.
And even when they were shooting, even though they were missing, Rudy would just get the putback. There were so many times where it would bounce off the rim and Rudy would just jump up and slam it down.
Even if
nobody was there.
Yeah, even if you guard Gobert, it's he's terrible at the free throw line. Just foul him. Even if he makes both, or at least one, it's better than letting him score every single time. He's not going to make every free throw. He's terrible at the line. So I don't understand it. It's going to be, unfortunately for Laker fans, it's going to be a long off season. I was really, really looking forward to the Lakers playoffs this series because we hadn't hosted a playoff series in LA since, try to guess the year.
Since
2020. 2012. Because 2020 we were the 1 seed, but it was in the bubble, so we didn't host one in LA. So the last time we hosted a first round playoff series, first round specifically, was 2012.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Kobe was still on the team. That's how long ago that was. That's crazy. And so I was really looking forward to it because, I was a little kid the last time they hosted a first round playoff series. And I was really hoping, maybe LeBron's last year, which we don't know.
Yeah,
I was really hoping, it would be a storybook ending for him to go out on top, get his 5th ring, But do we think that's it for LeBron? Did we watch him play his last game last night?
I don't think so. I don't think LeBron would go out like that. I don't think you can go out like that.
Right.
I think he's got at least one more in him.
I agree. I think he would. I think if I were him, I'd want to play a full season with Luka.
Yeah.
Because it was a blockbuster trade happened halfway through the year. You have to. I'm not making excuses for him, but you gotta readjust with your new team, and it was a disappointing end to the season. Even though they didn't have a center, they still should have made it further. A 3 seed should not be losing in 5 games to a 6 seed ever. Unless you're really banged up, but we weren't. We just weren't good. I think he's got to come back for one more year. If he tries to develop Bronny into a better player, maybe he can get a few more minutes. But we'll see. I know that's another thing people or Laker fans can not stand is
Bronny's the future.
I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it because it's not like it's Bronny's fault, but at the same time, I feel like you gotta earn it more than he did. And I'm not saying Bronny James isn't good or that he's not he didn't earn his spot in the NBA, but I feel like a big part of it was because LeBron is on the team, and you know,
I feel like he should have spent more time in the G League. I feel like, which he was actually pretty good in the G League. Like towards the latter
oh
half
yeah,
of the season, he was picking up. So I think this season, if he works hard, he can be a solid bench player
yeah,
for them next year.
I'd be fine with that. I would be fine with him coming off the bench, like in the second half of the game, and just putting up minutes. And if he can be a good defensive player, maybe that'll help us out because we need defense badly.
Yeah, from what's his name, Vanderbilt.
Yeah, Jared Vanderbilt. That's a guy that we didn't even talk about. I like him.
He was good on defense, not great on offense. But
Yeah, he was pretty invisible offensively this series. But there's a lot of things that the Lakers are gonna have to improve this offseason. Do we know who the Timberwolves play next? No, right?
Either the Rockets or the Warriors, which would
No.
be a good match.
Probably Golden State. But how do you
Golden State, yeah.
and you guys would be home
Yeah.
for that
Yeah,
series?
I guess so. That's crazy.
That's
Home
that's
as a
great.
six seed.
Yeah,
That is
that's
great.
great for you guys. How do you feel going into that series if you play Golden State?
I mean, like, I don't think you can bet against Anthony Edwards. See what he's done so far
Yeah.
in the playoffs. Like, he keeps going against these stars, these legends, and keeps knocking them down. So
Yeah, you were comparing him to like a young Randy
yeah,
Orton
young
before,
Randy
right?
Orton, I mean, you got KD, you got
Jokic.
yeah, they were the defending champs last year.
Yeah.
They went into Denver and beat them.
And they were down in that series, no? Weren't they
Yeah.
down in that series like 3-2?
I think so. And they went to Denver game 7 and they just BTA.
Yeah, pretty much.
Crazy.
So if you had to give me a finals prediction for this year,
Finals prediction. Low key. Give me Timberwolves Cavs.
Cavs, okay. I would like that. I would enjoy that series. I don't want it to be the Celtics or the Knicks. No. I mean, obviously the Celtics for obvious reasons. The Knicks, because I'm also a Nets fan. I don't like the Knicks,
I mean,
but
the Pistons could come back. You never know. I mean, they won game
Yeah.
5, so it's not impossible.
I don't think the Pistons are good enough to win a 7-game series against one of the best in the East. I think that it'll take them another year or two to really make that next step. They're a very young team and they have a bright future, but definitely not their year.
Yeah.
But
K's on the rise. He's been really good this year.
yeah, I think the Knicks will wrap up that series in either 6, maybe 7, but we'll just have to wait and see. So you say Cavs, Timberwolves. I'll say I don't want this to happen, but I have a feeling the Celtics are going to go back to the finals, and I'll say Celtics Thunder in the finals, and hopefully the Thunder can beat them because the Thunder looked great in the first round. I know they played an 8 seed, but they looked like they were just dominating. I mean, and they played Memphis, which is a team that has playoff experience. Even though they're an 8 seed, they have playoff experience. So, we'll see what happens. I have Celtics Thunder. Cody has Cavs Timberwolves. So we'll see what happens. So thank you guys so much for listening to this episode of JT Talks LA. I'm going to come out with a new episode every week based on either the Rams, Lakers, or Dodgers. You can go watch my old episodes when I was the JT Dodgers podcast. They're still up. They're right here on this YouTube channel, so you can subscribe here for all episodes. You can follow me on Instagram, JT Talks LA. That's my username, and it's the same username on TikTok as well, where I'm going to be posting all my clips. So make sure you guys follow that. Thank you guys so much for listening. Cody, thank you for coming on the show today, and we'll see you guys next week.